Now it's time to go back in time.
How about this first pitch? Were you nervous at all?
I honestly was more nervous than I was walking up onto the stage at the Dolby Theater.
Really?
On Oscar night.
You threw a strike right down the middle.
Yeah, I short-armed it a little bit, but I think I caught the inside.
Got a better
corner.
arm than me.
They had that clocked at 93, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I felt like it was more like 95 or 96, but
96.
you know, the gun's a little slow, I guess.
We just went back in time.
Yeah, that was straight Ched. We know that. Between that pitch with that stuff and that hat that J.K. Simmons is wearing, I have to ask, are you now in the Tiger system? Are you playing for the Whitecaps?
Yeah, I'm finally not. And Whitecaps are high A this year, and they used to be low A. So it seemed like the appropriate spot for me to start with, with Torkelson and Dingler and some of the high rounds. Daniel Cabrera, the guys.
Yeah, you're there. JK, speaking of opening days, you got your new movie, The Tomorrow War, that July 2nd on Amazon Prime. What can you tell us about this now?
Well, I got to be careful because I'm a very anti-spoiler kind of guy. I'm in it. I get. Although you don't see all of this, Michigas, because it's covered with hair. I got the Santa Claus beard going in this one, and yeah, Chris Pratt. This guy Chris Pratt also was in it. Apparently, he's okay.
Heard of him?
And it's one of those movies that I love. That's like, it's a great ride in that kind of big action movie. Let's fight the bad guys kind of way. But at the end of the day, it's a story about Chris and his family, and it's a beautiful, fun movie in that way too.
Yeah, you're a fan of the game now. Now, does it touch on any of this statistical war that's going on in baseball at all?
We do not address that, unfortunately, no. But I'm looking forward to a project where I can do that. I just finished a college football project. I'm hoping another baseball movie will come along before too long.
Well, JK, that's the thing. You've been in everything. Film, big budget movies, indie films, television, on stage, video games. Yes, a pro baseball player, everything. You're an M&M, all of it. So that had everybody here at the IT family saying, JK actually might be the most famous guest that this show has ever had on. I'm just gonna rattle off some other famous names, and you just say yes or no that you're more famous than this person.
I'm just a little hung up in that last sentence, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so you tell us if you're more or less famous than Kenny Chesney.
Never heard of him.
30+ million albums sold. I don't even know who he is. They put that fact on the sheet for me. Sully from Godsmack has also been on the show. More or less famous.
Sully's way more famous. That one I gotta give.
That means he doesn't know who Sully is. Yep.
The second ever guest on IT was Ryan Doumit.
Ooh.
No, I'm more famous.
No, yeah, I would say so. 10 years in the show, though, Ryan. We do tip our cap to you there. Matthew McConaughey, Matthew Mc something.
No, yeah, we used to be neighbors. Yeah. No, that kid's gonna have a career someday, but right now I'm definitely more famous than him.
Agreed.
How about good looking? Who's better looking?
I mean, I'm gonna let you guys make that call because I don't want to.
Great point. You are. Yeah, you are. You're sneaky hot. Got it. Being a great Tigers.
I do like my face a lot better these days when it is covered in hair, as it is in the Tomorrow War. So if people are considering the Tomorrow War, don't let this deter you. You won't see too much of this. You'll see the guns. You'll see,
Yeah.
All right. Being a big Tiger fan, obviously Spencer Turnbull's no-hitter was awesomeness. And what also was awesomeness was one of his favorite movies, For the Love of the Game. He said he was actually thinking about that during the no-hitter. What does that mean to you?
That means, he might have been thinking a little more about Costner than he was about Frank Perry, the manager of fictional manager of the actual Tigers in that movie. But by the way, both you and he and everybody who's ever said the name of that movie do get it wrong. because it's called For Love of the Game. There's only one definite article in that, just to be the English teacher.
For love of the game. I'm in now. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a the in the Tomorrow War. No first the. For love of the game.
Definite article from For Love of the Game.
Well, that gets us into our game here on IT. It's For Love of the Game. J.K. Simmons, we're going to do some trivia with regards to your role as Frank Perry, the manager. By the way, if that movie was made in this day and age, Frank would have had a real problem leaving Billy Chappell in the game to finish off a no-hitter. Would have gone to the bullpen in the 6th inning or something. But
It would have been all the new age stats, and yeah.
yes.
There's
First
also
question.
Each run for the catcher at second base, but you know.
All right, Frank Perry.
Yeah.
This was Kevin Costner's third baseball movie. Can you name the first two?
Well, yeah, Field of Dreams and Bull Durham. Come on.
1 for 1. Wait, we're starting you off. We're starting you off slow, getting you into it.
Okay.
Costner's character, Billy Chappell, threw a perfect game in Yankee Stadium. Can you name any of the 3 real-life pitchers to throw perfect games in the Bronx in the history of Major League Baseball?
Ooh.
David Wells.
Boom. You want to keep going? You want to
Bingo.
try for the other 2? So one, it happened in the World Series, 1965. Arguably the most famous.
That was prom night.
Brain fart. Sorry. I know it.
I have a hint for you. You share his name, your character in the 2009 movie, The Vicious Kind.
What's really so sad is I don't remember my characters.
It was Donald Sinclair, and the pitcher was Don Larson in the 1956 World Series. But, hey, JK, you're still 2 for 2. You named David Wells. David Cohn would be the other one. Next question. Can you name the College Baseball Hall of Fame head coach who played the manager of the Yankees in For Love of the Game?
Augie Garotto.
Augie Garrido, the late great. Of course, we know him and love him from his time with the Cal State Fullerton Titans and the UT Longhorns, Kev. Augie Garrido passed away a couple years ago.
And I knew it was spelled Augie Garrido, but everybody called him Garotto. So, I mean, I just called him Augie. But
Yeah, Augie. He was so excellent, you just knew him by one name, Augie. Last question.
Or Grotto. Hugh Hefner called them Grottos. Continue on. Thank you.
Thanks. Dynamite drop in, Kev. What former MLB All-Star was the scene in which the ball bounced off Mickey Hart's head for a home run based on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I nailed that question.
That would be Jose Canseco.
Yes, yes.
4 for 4, J.K. Simmons.
right.
Well done.
Thank you. Well, I mean,
Now,
1 out of 3.
JK,
Thank you.
this is the last part of the show. It's a wonderful part. It's called Rapid Fire. Are you ready?
No, but go.
Okay, I'm gonna put my readers on. Let's all put our readers on, guys. Here we go. On 3, 2, 1, they're on. Your Oscar-winning role in Whiplash is a character who is very concerned with keeping tempo. Do you have any thoughts on the pace of play in baseball?
I think people need to just shut up and have an attention span and not worry about it and enjoy the game. I have no real opinion.
Bingo. Bingo. 2, your favorite, not necessarily the best, Detroit Tiger of all time is?
Well, it fills both. It's Al Kaline, the late great Al Kaline.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many
signature.
different places, but it's Mr. Tiger.
I love that. And he had the best signature ever. That's it. Al Kaline. See you later. Not including your role in For Love of the Game, which of all your roles would be best baseball? Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Stand by, because you got me on the For Love of the Game. Which of all your roles would be the best baseball player? Terrence from Whiplash or J. Jonah Jameson?
I think it would be. I think it would be Terrence Fletcher, because his anger was a little more positively focused.
Love it.
We should turn that into
4. Yeah. I like it. The Tomorrow War is about people going 30 years into the future to save the world. If you were to go 30 years into the past, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself it's still too late to be a big league ball player.
Yeah. Okay. And the last one. This is the last one. Very important. Who has a better voice, the rapper Eminem or the yellow Eminem? Readers off.
Listen, big Marshall Mathers fan, Detroit 8 Mile, but
yeah,
yellow.
Yeah, yellow Eminem. But pick between two Michiganders, Michigan-born stars. That's tough. We're gonna end on a big note, like a physically big note, because you shaved off the beard so nobody can see that, and you're wearing a hoodie so nobody can see the flex that you threw up earlier. But thankfully, the internet has this photo till the end of time, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, my friend's kid called that shredded Santa. I was working out with my pal. What's that? That's 5 years ago now. And I mean, honestly, I kind of put the guns away a little bit during the pandemic, and I just got done playing Fred Mertz.
Yeah.
Not exactly a physical specimen, but I did have him. I mean, take a look at the Tomorrow War, because that guy, I had to look like Chris Pratt could be my kid, so I got back into the gym.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight 5 years ago, JK, or this man on the right?
Oh no. Oh no, JK. Anybody playing the big leagues, buddy? See?
Come on. Obviously, the guy with the beard.
Obviously. No question. Look, the Tomorrow War, July 2nd, Amazon Prime. J.K. Simmons, he was Amazon, he was great. He did not give us any spoilers, but Chris Pratt, a lot of recognizable names and faces, so we'll be locked in on the 2nd of July. J.K., thanks so much, and we'll talk to you down the road once this Tigers rebuild really kicks into high gear.
That's going to start in July. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, J.K., thanks, brother.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, J.K.